Anxious.
Actually, thanks. I think I just realized that if a bird lands on me or comes close to me, I think I'm gonna have a panic attack outside. So welcome back to the great outdoors. In this video, I'm going to be doing another sort of life goalsy video, which for some reason tends to happen with me and a white mug of tea and sitting outside. It's currently absolutely freezing, a lot colder than it was the previous time that I did this. So yeah, this is going to be fun. But let's get started. In this video, I'm going to be talking about things that I want to change in 2022. And these might be things that either I'm going to be carrying on forward from this year that I feel have been improving my life, or things that I have completely not been doing but want to start doing. I hope you can't hear that train in the background. So number one is working less, and I think I had a very big realization this year where I had an HR call with work and I was sitting down and I was asked when my last day off was, and it was before I started working for Ali, so it was in early 2020, and that's when I realized, I think, that I maybe did have a slight problem with taking time off. And especially when you are doing online work, a lot of the things that I do, even apart from my day job, which I usually don't have a break from, are kind of straddling the line between fun and play. And so because I have this very, very blurred lines, I end up doing things that can qualify as work all the time, every single day. And I don't think this is good. So in 2022, I am genuinely going to be forcing myself to take time off, and that might be just an afternoon, or it might be a full day, for example, or it might be maybe even a weekend or a week getaway. But I'm going to start being very, very intentional with like planning time for doing things that I'm not working in, if that makes sense. So that's definitely starting in 2022. The second thing I'm so excited for is continuing my mental health journey. I feel as though 2021 has been such a huge and completely life-changing year for me in terms of understanding myself and improving my mental health. And this is something that I am so excited to continue doing moving forward. And this will include things like reading books, both kind of philosophy books help me, but also genuinely actual clinical books on mental health help me a lot to understand what's going on in my mind. Also continuing potentially with therapy, but just doing a lot of work, I think, on understanding the ways that I think and why I potentially think that way, and maladaptive kind of thought patterns or maladaptive habits and behaviors that I have taken on throughout my life and just pile and pile and pile. I'm very, very slowly kind of unwinding these and finding that life is so much more beautiful in doing this. So I think being very, very intentional with my mental health is something that I'm definitely going to continue doing in 2022. The next thing I'm going to do in 2022, and this is a huge one, is not expecting myself to have things figured out. I think that there's this kind of confusing state where the older you get and the more you learn about things and the more you're told about things, the more I kind of expect myself to have answers. And it just doesn't work that way. Even though I now understand myself more than I potentially did a year ago, that doesn't mean that I'm any better at making decisions when it comes to myself, I feel. So for example, some things like going back to medicine or not going back to medicine, or where to live or what to do with my life. These are things that I've found that there are not very many clear answers for, and no matter how much I analyze them and how much I analyze myself, I'm no closer to getting an answer, because I don't think that there are good answers either way. So I think I'm going to get a lot more comfortable in 2022 in realizing that even though I am becoming more knowledgeable and more insightful into myself, that does not translate at all necessarily in being a better decision maker for my future, and just kind of leaning into that uncertainty that I just do the best with what is given to me in that situation, and what I feel is the right decision and what I genuinely emotionally feel like doing, rather than thinking that I must have some greater answer or some much better insight because now I am older and wiser. I think I'm just getting older and not much wiser, and I'm just loving embracing that at the moment. There's this one phrase that I absolutely love that says, to get anywhere, or even to live a long time, a man has to guess, and guess right, over and over again, without enough data for a logical answer. And this is for time enough for love. And it just kind of embraces this, that life really is just a guessing game, and we're just doing our best continuously. You can obviously try to do better, but that doesn't mean that it will necessarily be the right thing or the single thing to do. And embracing that kind of uncertainty has been a huge thing for me in the last few months, and will definitely be a huge thing for me next year. The next thing I'm going to be changing in 2022 is trusting my emotions more. I feel as though I have become very, very stoic in the generic sense of stoicism, so the extreme case, and I don't like that anymore. I used to be highly emotional as a child, and I was told off for this a lot. I was called irrational and too emotional, and I feel as though I internalized this so much, and because I loved logical reasoning, I just leaned into stoicism, and it really, really helped me when I had lots of anxiety, for example, to calm myself down. But I feel as though now as an adult, because I don't have those anxious tendencies as much anymore, being so good at compartmentalizing and just dividing things in my mind as in, yep, I can't do anything about it, it won't change. I think that makes me quite cold, and especially when it comes to myself and my own desires, I'm very good at saying, I don't care about that, let's continue working, in the sense that I sometimes feel as though I am very, very harsh with myself and I don't listen to my own emotions. I don't think this is good. I think there's a lot to be said about listening to our own internal state and our own emotions on the inside. And so I think in 2022, I'm going to be doing a very risky move, which I've already slightly been doing in the last few weeks, of leaning a bit away from stoicism and more towards emotional decision making and listening to my emotions, because I think that there is so much more value in that I have potentially been just like throwing away and discrediting for absolutely no reason. I think I'm excited to kind of get reacquainted with myself and what I feel and what my natural tendencies are, rather than the rational thinking of what I think is right and wrong and what I should do and what I shouldn't feel and what I should feel, and rather thinking, okay, well, who is Elizabeth actually and what does she enjoy doing? So I think getting back in touch with that is something that I'm very excited for. Next we have working out more, and this is going to be brilliant because I used to be in a place where I was very, very happy with my fitness journey before lockdown happened, and then lockdown happened and things just got very, very bad. So over the last few weeks, I've kind of been slowly getting back into working out, and I really want to become a qualified personal trainer, which is something that I've wanted for the last 2 years. So I've signed up for the course and I'm slowly getting back into working out again, and I'm really, really excited to go back to a level of fitness that I used to be before, or perhaps even beyond that, which is going to be great. The next day I'm going to be changing my life in 2022 is taking myself a lot less seriously. I think the older I get, the more I do of this, but now I'm just going to do it so much more intentionally. I can fall so easily into the trap of thinking that things that I do matter, or things that I say matter, or that people will take me seriously, therefore I need to take myself seriously first, and everything that I do needs to be well put together and well rehearsed and well thought through. I'm ignoring all that in 2022, and if I'm the first person who can admit that what I'm doing is just making things up along the way, and I'm just saying what I feel at the moment, and that most of the time I'm wrong, whatever that means, and that I'm not too tightly tied to the things that I say and do, I think life just opens up and becomes so much more liberating. So for example, there's probably a lot of background noise that I'm not even going to be able to realize until this video is edited right now, because I've never filmed in this setup, and the framing of this is probably not great, and the angle is not great, and I'm wearing just a random coat, and this video has not been well scripted, and so genuinely, whatever. I think I'm just going more towards the stage of thinking, you know what, don't take yourself too seriously, Elizabeth. Even when I do, I end up messing up so much. So what is the point of me taking myself hyper seriously to start with? Let's ignore that. Let's just lean into doing what I enjoy, being open and honest about things when I'm making them up, and moving from there. So that's going to be great. And the last thing that I really want to do in 2022 is think about impact more. I think this is the thing that I have missed the most about medicine, and potentially one of the strongest reasons that I would want to go back to medicine is just how meaningful work feels when you are a medical student or working in a hospital. I feel as though you can have quite a lot of impact, and you can really see that impact in real life. And what I mean genuinely is sometimes giving someone a cup of tea in a hospital is the kind of impact I'm talking about. I have not been out there saving lives, but even these small things have felt so meaningful to me and to the other person sometimes. So I really miss that, and I think online I have not leaned enough into the sort of impact that I can potentially do for myself and other people. So this is something that I want to be very intentional about. So in 2022, I'm really going to be thinking about the communities that I can potentially build, and the ways that people with similar mindset as me can connect, or the ways that I can impact other people who have gone through things that I have gone through, if I'm willing to talk about them, and kind of create potentially a better change in the world. I know this sounds super cheesy, but I've genuinely missed it. It's potentially one of the biggest and best things that we can do with our lives. So I'm really thinking about impact now, and it's definitely something that I'll be thinking about a lot more in the future. So yeah, my tea has gotten ice cold, and this has not even been a long video. So if you made it so far, thank you so much for spending this time with me. I hope you have a brilliant 2022, and yeah, a wonderful rest of your day. Be kind to yourself and others, and don't believe everything you think. Thanks. Bye.